Emma was a gentle woman who wanted nothing more than a simple, quiet life. She never dreamed of riches or grand houses. All she wished for was a love that stayed. When she met Ryan, she believed that wish had finally come true. He was warm and funny, attentive to every little thing she said, and once told her, "You make me feel calm." Those words made her heart believe he was different from everyone else. Their love began quietly but grew quickly, and one evening Ryan brought her flowers and said, "You are the reason I smile." Emma laughed and replied, "Then never stop smiling." They married in a small church, with only a few people watching. She wore a simple white dress, and he held her hand through the ceremony. For Emma, that day felt like the beginning of safety. The first months of marriage were filled with laughter and warmth. They cooked together, talked about baby names, and Ryan called her "my sunshine." Every night before sleeping, he whispered, "I'll always protect you." Emma felt lucky, and she told her friends, "I think my life has finally found its home." But as time passed, small changes began to appear. Ryan started coming home later than usual, looking tired and distant. When Emma asked what was wrong, he smiled weakly and said, "Nothing, just work." One morning, she woke to find his bag gone. On the table was a note that read, "Asterisk, I need some time alone." The asterisk, her hand shook as she read it. She called him again and again, but he never answered. Days turned into weeks. Each night she sat by the window waiting, unable to eat or sleep, watching their wedding video and whispering, "Where did you go?" 2 weeks later, her phone rang. Ryan's voice was soft. "I'm sorry," he said. "I made a mistake." Emma closed her eyes and whispered, "Then come back." That night he returned. Standing in the doorway, he said, "I got scared, Emma. I thought I wasn't ready for this life. But when I left, everything felt empty." She looked at him with trembling eyes and said, "If you walk away again, I may not survive it." He held her hands and whispered, "I'll never hurt you again. You are my home." For a time, life returned calm. Emma tried to trust him again. She cooked his favorite meals and smiled more, telling herself that love meant forgiveness. But deep inside, a quiet fear lingered. When Ryan left for work each day, she prayed he would come back. Then one morning, she felt dizzy and went to the doctor. The nurse smiled and said, "Congratulations, you're pregnant." Emma's heart filled with joy. She couldn't wait to tell Ryan. That evening, she prepared his favorite meal, lit candles, and left a small card on the table that said, "Asterisk, you're going to be a father." Asterisk, she imagined his smile, his laughter, but he never came home. Hours passed until finally a message appeared. Asterisk, don't wait for me tonight. Asterisk, no reason. No apology, just silence. When he finally returned the next day, she handed him the card. He read it, gave a faint smile, and said, "We'll talk later. I'm tired." Then he walked into the other room. Emma sat still, staring at the untouched food. "I thought this would bring us closer," she whispered. But the weeks that followed only brought distance. Ryan came home late, avoided conversation, and brushed off her worries with, "Don't be so emotional." One night, she overheard him whispering on the phone, "I miss you too." Her heart froze. "Is it happening again?" she whispered. Her body weakened, but she kept working and told herself she must be strong for the baby. When Ryan began packing again, she asked, "Where are you going?" He replied, "Just a short trip. Don't worry." As he left, she stood by the door and whispered, "I forgive too easily." That night, she cried until morning. Days turned into weeks. Ryan didn't return. Emma stopped calling because every unanswered ring hurt too much. One night, she felt the baby move and whispered, "It's just us now." She worked at a small bakery, making bread and cakes, saving every coin she could. Her kind neighbor, Mrs. Miller, often brought her soup and said, "You remind me of my daughter. She was brave like you." Emma smiled softly and replied, "Maybe bravery is what happens when you have no choice." Then one cold morning, she fainted and woke in the hospital. The doctor told her, "You're lucky. Too much stress can harm you and the baby. You must rest." She nodded and whispered, "He left me when I needed him most." The nurse looked at her with pity, but Emma said, "Don't worry. I'll manage." When her son was born, Emma named him Noah. As she held him for the first time, tears filled her eyes. "You are my whole world now," she whispered. From that moment on, her life revolved around him. The house no longer felt empty. It felt alive again. Emma worked hard, carrying Noah to the bakery every day. Customers smiled and called him beautiful, and she always said, "He's the best thing that ever happened to me." Every night before sleep, she whispered stories of hope to him, saying, "Sometimes people leave, but love stays if you let it." Years passed, and Noah grew strong. His laughter filled their little home. One day, a letter arrived from Ryan's mother saying he was sorry and filled with regret. Emma placed the letter inside her Bible and whispered, "I hope he finds peace." But another letter came, this time from a lawyer. Ryan had been in an accident and was in the hospital. He wanted to see her. After a sleepless night, she decided to go. When she saw him, thin and pale, lying on the hospital bed, she said quietly, "You had everything once. You just didn't know how to keep it." He apologized, and she said softly, "I forgive you, but I can't be the same again." As she turned to leave, he said, "Please tell our son I'm sorry." Emma paused, then replied, "He already has a father, the one who stayed." Days later, mysterious letters began arriving at her home, each one warning her not to trust Ryan and telling her to ask about Lily. Then came a photograph, Ryan with another woman holding a baby, taken before their marriage. Her heart broke all over again. When she confronted Ryan, he looked terrified and whispered, "Not now. I can't." But Emma demanded the truth. Eventually, he confessed that Lily had been his lover and that they had lost their child in an accident he caused. "I was angry," he said weakly. I drove too fast. They died because of me. I tried to bury the guilt, to start again with you, but lies don't die when you hide them. Tears streamed down Emma's face as she whispered, "You lived a lie while I tried to build a truth." He nodded. "Fear makes us lie. Love makes us regret it." Emma took his trembling hand and said, "I forgive you, not what you did, but the broken man who did it." Ryan smiled faintly and whispered, "Then I can rest." Those were his last words. His breathing slowed, and he was gone. Emma left the hospital in silence. That night, she held Noah and said, "Sometimes we cry when we're free." She burned Ryan's letters and whispered, "I forgive you. I hope you forgive yourself." From that day on, peace slowly returned to her heart. She opened a small bakery of her own and called it Noah's Promise reminding herself that broken things can still grow. Life became gentle again. One evening, Noah asked, "Mom, is Dad happy in the sky?" She smiled softly and said, "Yes, he finally is." Noah grinned. "Then I'm happy too." Years later, on Noah's 8th birthday, they visited Ryan's grave with white roses. Emma placed them gently and whispered, "Because you left, I learned how strong love can be." Noah held her hand and said, "You're the bravest person I know." Emma smiled through her tears. "No, my dear," she said, "we both are." That night, Emma sat by the window while Noah slept. The small plant they had grown together stood tall and green. She touched its leaves and whispered, "This is life. It breaks, it heals, it grows again." Looking up at the sky, she said softly, "He left me when I needed him, but because he left, I found myself." And for the first time in years, Emma's heart was completely at peace.